Hey, so I'm currently sitting in this warehouse while my client is doing some planning with some designers and contractors as we're looking at making this old space new again as they expand their company here. And that got me thinking about other entrepreneurs and what moving a business to London would look like, or if you're going to start one here, what you should know. So London is not just a place with housing growth, and a lot of traffic cones. It's a real regional business hub. The City of London actually said that our population now exceeds 530,000 dollars people. And that makes it one of Canada's fastest growing cities. And the location being, between Toronto and Detroit is one of the biggest strategic advantages that we have here in London. So from a commercial standpoint, that really matters because when a city is growing, the businesses that serve people, the logistics, health, food, the operations usually have room to grow with it. Now, not every industry is equal here. Not everything is as strong, and the sectors London keeps leaning into are clear. So it's healthcare, life sciences, advanced manufacturing, agri-food, tech, creative industries, research-driven businesses. Now, the city does highlight healthcare research, biotech, pharmaceuticals, medical devices, advanced manufacturing as its core strengths, but London tech, game development, fintech, agri-food sectors are major local drivers too. And those drivers are bringing more and more people here, which means more mom and pop shops are also needed to support the growth. So if you're asking, what kinds of businesses make sense here, I would break it down like this. If you're in health, med tech, diagnostics, clinical support, research services like rehab or any health adjacent professional services, London is going to make a lot of sense. There's over 100 health related companies here, major hospitals, and more than 25,000 workers are in that ecosystem. If you're in advanced manufacturing and food processing, logistics, distribution, clean tech, automotive adjacent, aerospace, industrial fabrication, London also makes sense, right? So the city and the LADC both keep putting money and expanding the research and that kind of, industries. E-commerce, creative tech, London has a legit business base for that too. The creative sector here includes more than 400 companies employing over 16,000 people. If you're in food, hospitality, specialty retail, services, that can work too. But the location becomes everything, and bad site selection will eat you alive faster than the market will. The city's 2025 sector profile says that accommodation and food services had about 835 establishments and nearly 18,000 workers in 2023, putting London at the top of the sectors for that. Now let's talk about where to set up shop. If you need industrial land, warehousing, manufacturing space, or that highway access, we have 401 and 402, you need to be looking really hard at Innovation Park, Huron Industrial Park, Trafalgar Industrial Park, especially around that Veterans Memorial Parkway and Highway 401 corridors. The city is actually actively marketing industrial there, and it lists all those nearby acres to be exactly where you want to be. And that tells you something important. London still has room for industrial growth. It's not unlimited room, obviously. We do enjoy paving things until we regret it, but we have room. So there's also an active proposal for a new industrial business park, Highbury Avenue South. It's about 1.6 kilometers south of the 401, which suggests the city and the province are still trying to expand our industrial capacity. Now, if your business depends on visibility, daily consumer traffic, restaurants, services, fitness boutique, retail, beauty, professional storefront exposure, don't think what I was just talking about makes sense. You gotta think differently. Downtown facing businesses, it still matters. Law, finance, food, events. Businesses that benefit from central access and urban client base need to think down there. London's office vacancy rate was over 19% at the end of 2025, which means that there's a lot of space and leverage and negotiation opportunity as well, right? But the demand isn't exactly roaring like it was in 2018. But that's not necessarily bad news. For the right business, that means opportunity. So if you need office space, client-facing studio space, flexible locations, you may, be able to negotiate far better downtown than people assume because the supply is there. If you want suburban retail, family income traffic, I would be looking at the corridors like Hyde Park, northwest growth areas, and other established commercial nodes tied to newer housing. Hyde Park's BIA openly frames the area as a place for new business opportunities while trying to manage growth alongside the existing businesses there. And that makes Hyde Park a really strong fit for things like medical and dental, personal services, boutique fitness, children's services, different things like home services, everyday food and beverage. Offices that benefit from that suburban convenience is great for there. Student-orientated businesses, anything near Western, Fanshawe, major transit corridors for the students. That's where you're gonna get that lower ticketed food, convenience, retail, tutoring, shared services, student-targeted offerings. Makes much more sense to be there than in a node that doesn't make sense. Agri-food, food innovation, London has actual ecosystems, and it's not just restaurants. So, the agri-food sector here employs more than 7,500 people across 120 companies. The Grove at Western Fair District has been built out as an agri-food innovation hub. So, that's all well and fine, but what is currently expanding? Well, evidence does suggest that industrial manufacturing growth, health, life sciences, tech, AI adjacent activity, agri-food innovation is all, what London is describing as in expansion mode. Manufacturing investment, defense related activities as well has some momentum showing up now early 2026. But what London likely has room for is going to depend on the category. So I will say that London would still have room, quality neighborhood retail and growth corridors, health adjacent private services, specialized trades and commercial service companies, logistics, warehousing, light industrial users like what I'm in now, food processing, software, B2B, tech, real world industries, retail and hospitality, also would be somewhere that I would be looking. I would be cautious about generic office heavy businesses with no reason to meet in person. The whole Me Too retail concepts, businesses that need downtown foot traffic but don't understand the downtown dynamics. Restaurants, weak locations, average products, fantasy projections. In other words, London is a good city for businesses that solve practical problems. They got to serve our growth population clusters. They got to benefit from the city's corridor location as well. So if you're moving a business to London, or you're starting one here, the real question is not, is London growing? Because it is. But the better question is, what part of London fits the way this business actually makes money for me? Because the right concept in the wrong node, you're gonna struggle. It's not gonna work. And the right location can make an average business look much smarter than it is. So I'm here to support all types of business growth, just like what I'm doing today. So reach out if you're looking to make a jump into a new business or growing a business in a new location in London. I would love to be your advisor.